Welcome back, guys. Automotive Inc. here. So you've probably seen these signs here before: Uber, Lyft, and you didn't really know. Maybe you're new to the app as a passenger and you would like to just know some insight on it. Before we get started, smash the subscribe button for me. At the end of the video, give me a like. All right, to all of you that are new to using these rideshare programs, Lyft and Uber are the two powerhouses when it comes to finding a ride from your airport to your grocery store to wherever you're going. And I run into so many people that are just new to the app. They said, well, we're really not too aware. And so when they ask a driver, what am I supposed to do or how do I do it? I'm just going to touch on a handful of things for you guys to make it super simple on you when you're in the rideshare world. So all you really got to do is go to the App Store, whatever platform you use, whether it's Apple or Android, and download Uber and Lyft. You'll need to create a password, create some type of account, and you're going to need to link your information and your credit card information on file. And what that'll do is it's completely safe. Is once you open the app, then log in, save your passwords in there, you're going to be able to request a ride anytime, anywhere. Both of these platforms are pretty seamless. I've had very good luck with both platforms, no matter where I'm at in the United States. They are available overseas for the most part, but we're going to specifically focus on the US, and the ride will be basically the same. Now, once you download those apps and you need to go from point A to point B, you're going to open up the app and request a ride. Now, a driver is going to be sent that ride via his cell phone, and what that's going to do is it's going to link up, they'll accept it, and then it's going to show you when they're en route and how long it's basically going to be before they pick you up. Now, one thing you can do, especially if you're in a hurry, to expedite is look what kind of vehicle the driver's going to be driving. Usually there will be a description in there saying it'll be a green Kia. There will also be an opportunity for you, say you live in an apartment complex where every building has this address of 2500. Let your driver know via through the app. You can text them or message them saying, I'm in building 2120, whatever, so on and so forth. Or I'm going to meet you on the corner of the actual thing. Because what will happen is that between Uber and Lyft, both of those are going to use some type of like pinging. And it's going to ping in an area where you may not actually be. You might be in the building behind it, and that's going to cause an undue delay when it comes to picking you up. These drivers are trying to make sure that they pick you up and get you to where you need to be as quick as you can. So to waste gas and time doesn't make a lot of sense. And usually communication is the biggest failure in any type of relationship. And whether all this is a short relationship, it's easier for you to say, hey, I'll be in the green building on the right corner of this. And that way it just doesn't do it. Otherwise, when the driver gets there, typically he'll start waiting for you because he's going to go to the ping, he's going to go to the little stake mark on the map, and we don't always see where you might be on the map. So just out of courtesy, just go ahead and send him a message. Now if it's pretty straightforward, you're at movie theater A and that's where he's going to pick you up, then just be on the lookout for the vehicle itself. Again, not all drivers are going to turn their flashers on, that's not required, but they are going to do their best to make sure that they find you. Now, once the driver gets there, you have an opportunity to hop in if you have luggage or whatever. Some drivers will get out, some will not. Ask them, how do you want me to put this in there? Most of them are going to have access to a trunk or the back. Some of them will just pop the trunk and expect you to put it in there. I personally would get out and make sure that we get your bags put inside. From that point, make sure you get the gate shut and let's hop inside. Once inside the vehicle, guys, feel free. If the driver's not all that conversational, that's okay. A lot of times drivers want to give you the ability to strike up a conversation if you choose, or if you choose not to just sit back and enjoy your ride. But there are some things that I would ask. Hey, if you get hot or cold, make sure you let me know so that way we can turn the temperature up or down. Usually as a driver getting in there, they kind of get into the zone of driving and sometimes they're not paying attention to your comfort. That's not against the rules, and it's perfectly acceptable for you just to ask, hey, can you turn it up or turn it down? In addition to that, a lot of drivers will have background music on, just so there's some ambient noise and not that weird, awkward silence. Again, you can sit back, relax, just get to where you're going and everything like that. But feel free to ask. Turn the radio up or down, turn the temperature up or down, turn the radio off if you can't hear and you need to conduct business calls or whatever. Again, you are a guest in a person's vehicle, so just kind of be respectful and mindful of that. Now, when you hop in, you might see signs. If you need anything, feel free to ask. Just a friendly reminder, please close the doors gently. Slamming doors sucks on your personal car, so just shut it lightly. No eating or drinking. That can be up to each driver's specification. And no smoking or vaping. Thank you for cooperation. Enjoy the rest of your day. Again, guys, a big party foul when you're doing rideshare is don't smoke in the car. You can't smoke in public buildings hardly anymore. You cannot smoke in most restaurants, and most certainly don't smoke in a person's car. But now that vaping is a little bit easier to be discreet about, be cognizant of that. Some people have allergies and other passengers are going to pick up. This is people's personal car, so when they go off the clock, they're going to put their family in here, so they may not want nicotine and stuff floating around. So just be mindful of that. Another side right here, it might say if you need a charger, please fasten your seatbelt. That's a law. Enjoy music, AC, heat. Drivers do depend on a good star rating, or at least a reliable and honest star rating. So if you do like your driver, feel free to give them a 5-star. If they give you a clean car to ride, and give them a 5-star. If the car is disgusting and lousy and they're a horrible driver, well, then you can decide how to star that as you see fit. Right here it says tips are not really required but are greatly appreciated, etc. and so forth. So one thing you guys got to realize is these ride apps are not paying the drivers by the mile. They're paying them a small percentage of the fare that they're actually charging you, the consumer. So all tips do go to the driver, whether they're cash or via credit card. Cash is usually how I would love to tip people, no matter if they're a hairdresser or at a restaurant. I like to tip them in cash because then that tip never really existed as far as it's concerned. And then they can make sure they get it. But when a lot of drivers get in these things, they're already getting charged quite a bit for a rideshare ride. And you got to realize that the driver itself is probably making between 10 and 25% of whatever they charged you. So if you are getting charged by the app provider, say $50 for the ride, the driver is not getting $50. The driver is responsible for his own fuel, his own insurance, his own wear and tear on his car, his own vehicle payment, etc. and so forth. Okay, the driver themselves are not getting that full fare, although they are kind of the face of those ride share providers, whether it's Lyft or Uber. They are the face of it, but they are not the ones that are getting that large fare. So just keep in mind when you're thinking about a tip, even $1 or $2 might go a very, very long way. One thing that's also greatly appreciated, guys, remember these are people's personal vehicles that they're using, is don't walk on the seats. And if you bring an animal, Uber and Lyft have both came out with a new thing saying that if somebody has a service animal, that the ride can't be denied, and that if you go to pick them up, they have a service animal, mind you, that the ride is acceptable. Keep that in mind, though. You are a guest in somebody else's car, so they may not have people that have allergies. They can't have that hair in their car. They might have a lot of concerns. So if that pickup person asks you to please put your dog in a kennel, or folds on the seat and asks you not to put the animal on the direct seat itself because it's leather, whatnot, just be cognizant that they're not trying to be rude, but there is some give and take to all of that. Again, when you have a mass-produced company like a taxi cab service and or like a bus, those are shared by everybody. That's not the driver's bus. It is the driver's responsibility to take care of it, but at the end of the day, that seat isn't going to have to be conditioned. So if you get dog hair on it, or your dog has an accident or something like that, this is going to be on the driver itself to have to deal with that. So just be really respectful of that. And it's not that they're trying to be rude or anything like that. But yeah, at the end of the day, just be really careful. Also keep in mind, guys, that as a rider, it's your responsibility to make sure that you're kind of out there and ready to be picked up. And when you go to, say, an airport or stuff, you typically are going to have a specified area to drop you off, and it's usually going to be with the commercial vehicles, shuttles, and everything like that. Especially in here in Denver, you're going to be dropped off at a different level than the typical departure level, and you're probably going to be picked up at a different level and a different zone. So just be aware of that. Pay attention to the app when you request the ride, so you know where to go. And especially at the airport when there's large crowds, feel free to text the driver if you have a second and just say, "Hey, I'm wearing a red shirt. I'm standing by the H sign. I have a brown suitcase. I'm with 4 others," so that way they can make make the best out of your time, get you picked up, and get you where you need to go. Other than that, guys, once you get dropped off, that's really not much else you really need to do with the app. The driver will then complete the run itself, and then just probably going to ask you to rate them. Again, that 5-star rating is important to a lot of drivers. Again, only if they earn it. Okay, I've been in some cars that were really not well kept, and they weren't all that pleasant smelling inside. That doesn't mean they're a 1-star, but just keep that in mind that there's a lot of drivers out there have a lot of pride in their stuff when they're trying to give you a ride, and make sure that you get there in a really comfortable time. They might deserve the 5-star versus the other person might deserve a 4-star, but just be honest and be respectful. This is how they make a living. And then last but not least, the app will ask you if you want a tip. Again, just like I told you earlier, no matter what you're being charged, the driver is making less than that by less than a quarter. So keep in mind that it might only be $1, and I know it was an expensive ride. That's not dictated by the driver themselves, so drivers do appreciate any and all tips. All right, guys, this is Automotive Inc. My channel is dedicated to life hacks, everything it has to do with the automotive industry, reviews. Go to my channel, subscribe, head over to the search bar, type in it. More than likely I have a video on it. If not, comment below, and we will get back to you as much as we possibly can. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you on the next one.